Long ago, in the kingdom of Adamkrom, there lived a boy called Nyameko, born on the night the river turned red. The elder said it was an omen, a warning from the spirits. His mother, a humble basket weaver, named him Nyameko, meaning gift of the gods. But the villagers whispered another name, the Cursed One. For strange things followed the boy wherever he went. When he laughed, the wind changed direction. When he cried, the chickens refused to lay eggs. And when he was angry, the river behind his hut swelled as though it wanted to speak. Yet Nyameko was gentle. He spent his days fishing and listening to the old griots sing of kings, warriors, and talking beasts. But his nights were restless. Every full moon, he heard a voice, soft and distant, calling from the river, "Nyameko, do you remember me?" He would wake trembling, the voice still echoing in his bones. The river Odu, wide as a road of glass, was sacred. No one dared fish near its center, for it was said to be the dwelling place of Asa Ase Ya, the Earth Mother, and her watery children. The Ensamanfo, spirits of the departed. The chief of Adomkrom had forbidden anyone from going near the river after sunset. But one night when the moon burned white and curiosity wrestled with fear, Nyameko went. He walked barefoot through tall elephant grass until he reached the bank. The river glowed faintly, like a giant snake resting. Then he heard it again, the voice, "Nyameko, you have forgotten your promise." His heart pounded. "Who are you?" he called. The water rippled, and a figure rose, a woman made of moonlight and mist. Her eyes were dark and endless, her hair flowing like a black waves. "I am Adoma, daughter of the river Odu," she said. "Once, you and I were bound by a vow. You promised to return, yet you live as though the river holds no memory." "I've never seen you before," Nyameko whispered. She smiled sadly. "Because you were reborn." The air grew heavy. Nyameko's knees trembled. "Reborn? You were once a guardian of this river," she said, "a spirit who defied the gods. When you betrayed them, your soul was cast into flesh to learn humility. But the river remembers, even when men forget." She stepped closer, her voice both tender and terrible. "Now the balance breaks again. A drought is coming. The river will dry unless the guardian's promise is renewed. Will you honor it or let the land die?" Nyameko nodded, though fear clawed at his chest. "Good," she whispered, fading into ripples. "Find the calabash of truth before the next moon. Only then will the waters forgive you." At dawn, Nyameko set out. The elders watched him go and muttered that madness had finally claimed the cursed boy. He carried only a god of water, a charm his mother gave him, and his courage. The road was long. He crossed forests where the trees whispered names, plains where vultures circled like omens, and hills that seemed to hum beneath his feet. On the third day, he met an old woman grinding herbs by the roadside. Her eyes were milk white, but she saw deeper than sight. "Where do you go, child of the river?" she croaked. "I seek the calabash of truth," Nyameko replied. The woman chuckled. "Truth is heavy, my son. It breaks the back of those who carry it wrongly." She gave him a small drum carved with the face of a crocodile. "When your path is hidden, beat this once. But remember, truth listens as much as it speaks." He thanked her and walked on. Days turned to weeks. Hunger gnawed at him. He crossed into a valley where the air smelled of burnt earth. At its center stood a shrine, guarded by a python, coiled around a stone idol. "Who seeks the calabash?" hissed the serpent. "I do," said Nyameko, his voice steady. "Then prove your heart is clean," said the python, uncoiling. Answer me this. What is the difference between a river that gives life and a river that takes it? Nyameko thought. Finally, he said, none. The river does both, yet it remains the river. The python's eyes gleamed. You remember. He slithered aside, revealing a hollow gourd glowing softly, the calabash of truth. Nyameko carried the calabash back to Adomkrom. But when he arrived, the land was dying. The river had shrunk to a stream, the crops withered, and the people wept. He ran to the bank and called out, Adoma, I have what you asked for. The river stirred, but the spirit did not appear. Only the reflection of his own face looked back, except for a heartbeat, it wasn't his face at all. It was hers. Then a voice boomed behind him, the chief and his warriors. You dare defy the taboo boy? The chief roared. You've angered the spirits. Before Nyameko could speak, the warriors seized him. They dragged him to the village square, where drums of judgment beat like thunder. The elders decreed he must be cast into the river at dusk to appease the gods. His mother wailed, clutching her wrapper, but no one dared intervene. As the sun bled into the horizon, they bound Nyameko and carried him to the river's edge. The chief raised his staff. May the river take this cursed child and restore our peace. They threw him in. The water was cold and alive. Nyameko sank deeper, deeper, until all sound vanished. Then he heard it again. Nyameko, do you remember me? He opened his eyes. Around him swirled faces, ancestors, spirits, forgotten kings. At their center stood Adoma, radiant and sorrowful. You were never cursed, she said softly. You were punished for love. What love? He gasped, water filling his lungs. Once you were the river's guardian, and I, its daughter. But you loved me against the decree of the gods. To punish us, they tore your spirit from the waters and made you mortal. I have waited through centuries for you to remember. The calabash in his hand began to glow. Now choose, Adama said. Return to your mortal life, or take your place beside me forever. Nyameko looked up through the water, seeing the faint glow of the world above. His mother, his people, his village. Then he looked at Adoma, the endless river in her eyes. He smiled. The river that gives life must also take it. He broke the calabash. Light burst through the depths, and the river roared awake. Rain began to fall, heavy and pure. The drought ended, but Nyameko never surfaced. When the storm cleared, the villagers found the river full and singing again. Where Nyameko had vanished, a small island had risen, green and fertile, with a single calabash tree at its center. From that day, no one called him cursed. The elders renamed the river Odu Nyameko, the river that remembers names. And sometimes, on moonlit nights, those who stand at its edge swear they hear two voices laughing beneath the water, one deep, one soft, like lovers who found peace beyond time. Mother Didi's voice fell to a whisper. Remember, children, she said, eyes glinting like dying embers. The water remembers every secret, every lie, every promise broken or kept. And when it calls your name, answer wisely. She leaned back as the fire sighed into smoke. For the river that gives life, she murmured, also teaches that nothing, not even love, is ever truly washed away. The river forgets no name. It only waits for the echo to return.